Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Pretty Suited Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren A. And today we're going to talk about something that had the timeline kind of side-eyed this weekend, and that is surrounding the artists Mariah the Scientist and Young Thug. And if you have not hit that like or subscribe button, go ahead and do that. Now, Mariah the Scientist is an upcoming artist who has a good fan base, been putting out really good music the past few years, and so she's up and coming and doing her thing. But like most of us, she's involved with somebody who many feel may not be the best suitor in the bunch. And that is Young Thug, right? We've seen Young Thug's past history. He definitely was one of the greater artists to come out of Atlanta, Georgia. He had the whole ATL in a frenzy when he came out, and he was doing new and eclectic things. But he got involved in some criminal activity, allegedly, and he was sentenced to jail, and she basically did that bid with him, being by his side, as we saw in many different video leaked tapes and things like that, where she was still talking with him, was still being a support for him during that time. And when he was released, he comes out, and a lot of different things came out that happened, a lot of infidelity, a lot of embarrassing moments that many will say that would be the last straw, right? Not only did I hold you down and do a bid with you in prison, but here I am, embarrassed yet again on several different occasions. So I would say this. Mariah may not have been embarrassed. They may have a fantastic relationship. I don't know the relationship behind closed doors. But externally, it may seem that he's put her in positions that may not have been so favorable for her or her brand as she's trying to elevate as an artist. But here on Pretty Suited, we don't just talk about gossip. That's not why I'm here. We talk about professional development through the lens of pop culture. So, as we know, we can learn from different moments that we see on our timeline and in pop culture that can, influence us to develop and get better. And so that's why we're here. So in this particular episode, I'd like to shed light on something that Mariah seems to be going through. Again, I don't know her personally, but from the outside looking in, she seems to be going through a lot of things that most women have done at some point in their life. And that is fall in love with the familiar. Humans love the familiar. It develops a form of security. It develops a form of consistency. And regardless if that familiarity is chaotic or calm, you end up choosing it because it is familiar. And I think a lot of times that particular thing starts with the home. And so whatever your environment you were raised in, whether that environment was chaotic or it was calm, that is what you know. You could have grown up in an environment where everybody yelled, where people didn't get their point across, where you didn't necessarily feel loved or seen. Or you could have grown up in an environment where everybody was calm, maybe too calm, maybe didn't voice their concerns, maybe it was very passive, or maybe they just didn't care at all. Regardless of what the origin is, you tend to hold on to those types of temperaments as you grow older and an adult. So in Mariah the Scientist's case, I don't know her upbringing or anything like that, but when women or men tend to get involved with someone who may be deemed as risky or may displayed risky behavior, you find thrill in that. We've all been in situations where we found excitement in people who threw caution to the wind or who had some sort of criminal background or anything like that, where you may not have dated them per se, but you were intrigued by their lifestyle. And over time, you may end up seeing through bright eyes with some growth and development that they may not be the best person for you. However, because you're so familiar with them, because you know them, because you have so much history with them, you end up staying with that person past expiration date, right? And so I feel like that's the case in this with Mariah the scientist and with Young Thug. He was able to have someone, because if you know anybody who has served time behind bars, you know how lonely that can get for that individual. Despite, their mishaps on how they got there, you understand that if you've loved them, if you care about them, you don't want them to deal with that situation alone. And so I think that because they had a budding relationship before then, she wanted to do that time with him and give him some sort of security or familiarity while he was in that circumstance. And so she was there for him. Just like with any woman or any situation like that, we know that the person in prison or in jail tries to find comfort in whatever he can. So that may not just be you. Right? She's an up-and-coming artist. She may have, not had all the time for him because she was doing a studio session or a tour or a show. Who knows? And he may try to find solace or comfort in other women, right? So as she's doing time with him, she's trusting that and hoping that he is, being loyal or faithful to her as well. I'm assuming. Regardless, she feels discomfort in knowing that the same loyalty that she showed him, he's not displaying to her. But in essence, who thinks about that when they're in love? Who thinks about that when you spent so much time pouring into a relationship that you feel like, well, if I leave it, was it all a waste? Was it all a waste of time? And nobody wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to feel like all their hard work and effort has gone by the wayside because a person cannot stay loyal to them. And so back to what I was saying earlier, chaos and unpredictability can still be somebody's comfort zone. You'll be surprised how much you're willing to tolerate just because you recognize it. You'll be surprised how much chaos can prevent somebody from stepping away and going after what they need to go after, going after something that's more healthy, because chaos is what they know. Chaos is their surroundings. Chaos is their familiarity. So imagine if something that was not chaotic stepped in front of them, they would feel like, okay, well, what is this? This is a little too calm. This is a little too unchaotic, right? This is a little too comfortable. This is a little too healthy. You'll be surprised even they will remove themselves from the healthy behavior, from the healthy environment to go back to the chaos because it's familiar. And I think that despite how much we want what's best for somebody else, they have to want what's best for themselves in order to see that chaos does not have to be their norm anymore. And I'm not even talking about Mariah the scientist right now. You'll be surprised how much people don't see. Their nervous system dictates a lot of their movement. Their nervous system dictates a lot of their choices. I know if you guys have heard of fight or flight, right? So fight or flight, if you're not familiar, is the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. That's what tells your body that, hey, this is comfortable. This is familiar. I'm secure. I'm safe in this environment. And a lot of times your body's allowed to rest, right? The nervous system is allowed to rest and digest. You're able to digest food. You're able to calm down, maybe even go to sleep because you know that your immediate surroundings is not dangerous. Then you have flight. That's what tells your body to, hey, this is uncomfortable. I'm not safe. I need to remove myself. This is weird. No, right? If a bear comes after you, you flying, right? You running. That's your flight. But if you feel comfortable and nothing is dangerous, you're more likely to rest and digest. So unfortunately, though, some people's rest and digest is constant stimulation. It is you feeling like everything is on the up and up and it's dangerous. Your head is on a swivel. That's some people's norm. And so them being able to sit and just rest, it feels unfamiliar. Even a person's inability to go after something more healthy or a better fit for them, it trickles into other areas of their life. You'll be surprised how many people don't go after a promotion because they fear that they're going to fail. And they're so good at what they do that they're fearful of learning something new and failing at it. So it just stifles your career. You'll be surprised how many people don't even pursue a person because they don't think they're good enough for that person. You'll be surprised how many people don't go after or purchase a home because they don't feel like they're good enough to have a stable home. You'll be surprised how many people don't do what's in their best interest because they're comfortable with where they are. They know what they're doing. They may be even quite good at it. But because something new is unfamiliar and it's at risk of not working out, then they just won't pursue it. And that's human behavior. However, you have to be able to understand and have enough self-awareness and self-esteem to say, I deserve what it is that I want. And even if what I want is outside of my comfort zone and it's outside of what's familiar for me, I still have every right to be able to pursue it with all that I have. And if I fail, I fail. But I will resent myself. I will be remiss if I did not pursue it, because then I'm going to have resentment for myself to say that I never tried. That quiet resentment that just slowly eats at you because you didn't think that you deserve better. I challenge everyone, and myself included, when doing this podcast, you kind of learn a little bit about yourself. I've always been a quiet person. I've always been a reserved person. I don't like people in my business. That's just who I am. That's how I was raised. But being in front of the camera has pushed me to really see, okay, it's okay for you to be seen. It's okay for you to share your thoughts and your interests. It's okay for you to elevate and to expand and grow and people to be able to ask you questions and get your perspective, because I have a lot to offer, right? It's okay for me to do it in a corporate setting. I'm fine with that. But when it comes to putting myself in front of a camera, in front of larger audiences, I was hesitant. I still am in some capacity. However, the love that I've been shown and kind of like my passion to go towards my purpose has said, you know what? You got to get out your comfort zone and you got to do it anyway. Because if you don't, you can never say you gave it your best effort. And so in the case of Mariah the Science and Young Thug, I also think that he was afraid to lose his comfort. While Mariah was afraid to go after something else because she was comfortable, I think Young Thug is afraid to lose his comfort, his warm blanket, his weighted blanket. You know what I'm saying? When things get tough, she's there to support him. He's afraid to lose that. So he just went ahead and proposed to her so that way he could show that he's serious. Is he serious? I don't know. That's none of my business. I have no idea. However, from what it looks like, if on his end, I think he's uncomfortable with losing his comfort too. So on both ends, are they really setting a good foundation for marriage, or are they just both fearful of the unfamiliar? I don't know. You let me know. Answer me in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is real love? Do you think this is true love and twin flame and all the other things that we like to call it? Or is it two people really afraid to lose their familiar? Because don't do me any favors. Let me tell you something. If you think that I'm just a good pick on paper and you think that I'm loyal, whatever the case may be, so you just going to lock me in because of that, sir, don't do me any favors, okay? Because your love is not based on who I am. It's what you could do for me. And I think with that kind of conditional love, not unconditional love, but conditional love, I think that it's a recipe for disaster, because once I stop doing things for you, are you still going to love me? Once I stop being that soft pallet for you to land on, will you still love me? If I have a difficult day and need you to support me, will you still love me? I don't know. I think the answer is no in a lot of those instances. And so, I feel for her. I feel for Mariah the scientist because I feel like everybody else sees what she's capable of. I'm pretty sure she can have any man she wants. She's gorgeous. But, she's kind of not settling because I don't know her life like that, but she's sticking to a situation that she hopes becomes better, that she prays probably to become better, and that, she's hoping that he does the right thing for her. But we have to be kind of realistic and recognize patterns. And if people aren't willing to change their patterns, then I don't know if you're going to get the result that you want. So best of luck to both of them. Congratulations still, because I love love. I'm a lover girl at heart. But I also want people to, try not to make decisions out of trauma, but for really what's best for us. And so shout out to her. I hope that it does work out, or she ends up, choosing herself and what's best for her in whatever situation. So anyways, until next time, guys, you cannot manifest the life you don't feel like you deserve. So create the life that you want and look to the sky for grace. Bye-bye. For all that life has in store, health, culture, and more.